All right. It's that time. It's time for Beyond Sight and Sound. Let's do this.
Hey boys and girls, we are going to talk about S&W shooters and prospectors. What is S&W shooters and prospectors?
We at S&W Shooters and Prospectors help people find treasure.
Did you say treasure?
Yes, treasure. Just listen to this amazing review from our happy customer, Jackie Sparrow.
Chocolate ship shape and a pleasure to deal with. I was able to buy everything that I needed at prices that were shillings less than others. I found my 9 pieces of meat in no time. Savvy?
I know you're asking yourself, why should I shop at S&W Shooter and Prospectors?
Chuck Smalley has over 45 years of metal detecting experience. He works with each customer one-on-one to customize their setup to match their skill level.
So if you always dreamt of being a pirate, contact Chuck at S&W Shooters and Prospectors and he'll take a great deal for you.
Eye patch and rum not included.
Caution. Please do not operate motor vehicles or power equipment while under the influence of this show. Listening to this show could cause side effects such as bouts of laughter, violent binges of cabin fever, and even dreams of silver and gold. Please be advised. Now that the fine print is out of the way, on with the show.
All right. We're back. Surprisingly enough, I did not think that, well, we'll put it this way, folks. First off, thanks for everyone for dropping in. I did not think this show was going to happen. I came out to set up for the show, and imagine my surprise when there was no internet. Not a good thing to have. Well, when you've already put a post out and you're going to be doing an internet-based show, not a good thing to have. Kind of have to have internet to get things to, we got to have the internet to get things off the ground. That's all I'm saying. So, I guess first off, we'll back up for a minute and since I know that there was a big internet glitch, I mean, as soon as I caught the bandwidth, I was up and flying, trying to push everything through as quickly as possible. So call us fashionably late. How's that? So, with that in mind, I do not know what the bandwidth capabilities are right now. I don't know if the audio is getting out, if it's choppy because of pushing everything to try and get the show off the ground. So first off, let's see if we can get someone to sound off in the chat about how the audio is. I mean, obviously, I know there's a little bit of a delay. Not much. Okay, we've got confirmation from ORH. And the others are sounding off as well. Says the audio's good. Everybody's giving us the green light. Good. Nice to know. All right. So, we've got the go ahead from the chat. Quick disclaimer, I'm not following the Facebook streams. I'm catching bits and pieces from the YouTube chat. I'm surprised. I mean, if the Facebook feeds are up, I was doing good just to get that out. Like I said, I don't know what went on. I've not had that happen before as far as the internet is concerned here, before a show. I've not had that happen. So something had to have screwed up pretty heavily somewhere, because it was some time back that we switched internet providers, and since then the internet has been pretty rock steady, rock solid, which is not a bad thing. Believe me, I'm not complaining. We get an excellent internet connection, good speed as well, usually. So there is that. Another thing to mention, a huge shout out once again to Meryl for taking the time to sit down with us Sunday. I know we went into extra innings, but I'll tell you what. When at one point I was watching the comment count, and I noticed it start to slow down, which didn't concern me any. I mean, we've seen this before. I'm going, oh, they're listening. That's good. That's a good thing. And then I look, I want to say an hour, 10 minutes in, something like that. And I'm kind of glancing at the view count from time to time, because I'm going, well, you know, for a while now, we've been running hour shows instead of hour and a half. And the view count's not dropping. It's actually climbing. Well, all right. They're interested. Content's rolling. We're not shutting it down. And check it again, an hour and 25 minutes in, an hour and a half in. Everybody's still having a great time. All right. Hey, let it roll. hour and 40 minutes in, I'm going, all right, everybody's hanging in there. I'm glad they're hanging in there. Some of them are going to come back and catch what they missed because they had to get up and go to work the next morning or whatever. But we need to be shutting this down. We'll get Merrill back on at another point in the future. If you guys and gals would love to hear from him again. I mean, he really is a good guy. He's been on the show a few times. And people do get a kick out of him. He's got quite a following on his YouTube channel as well. So that's and Merrill's always willing to come on the show. Always has been. So I know I'm not going to mention any names, but I know for a while there were a few people that were, well, kind of beating me up over Merrill. They thought, well, they had the misconception that me and Merrill were on opposing sides, we'll say. They thought that I had some sort of major issue with Merrill, and, put it out there now for the record, there never was any issue with Merrill, nor did Merrill have any issue with the show or anything like that. I don't know how the misconception got started, but we'll take a minute and put that rumor to bed now. So just so people understand. And honestly, I don't get it. When this was going on, when there were a few people out there that thought that I had some issue with Merrill, they were leaving comments that were getting deleted, and I'm thinking the whole time, do you not listen to the bumpers? That is Merrill promoting Beyond Sight and Sound. People know that music. They like the rap. There is no issue. And there's not. There wasn't. So, yeah, we'll put that away now. Nice, Scott. Well, hey, it is what it is. And I would love to be able to sit here and tell everybody with a straight face that there's never any drama in the community. And I know that's not true. Some people love to stir up drama. And I don't know, maybe that's where the rumor started. Somebody was just trying to stir up drama. It's happened in the past. I mean, we've had plenty of people in the past before that that had thought that us and Detect America didn't get along, thought we were in direct competition of one another. And honestly, Frank and myself, we always got such a kick out of it, because we're like, where are people getting this? Because people couldn't be further from the truth. It's never been anything like that. We've always kind of been on the same page. We work together. We try to reciprocate. And in the end, we've got the same goals. Everybody's out there to have a good time. Have fun. Don't stress and exert all sorts of wasted energy and talent on drama. That's all I can say about that. It's unbecoming. And it sounds silly, because I've been out of the YouTube community for a minute, you might say, and then we come back doing the live streams here on YouTube for everyone. And it used to be that for the YouTube community, the big saying was, create, don't hate. You can exert that same amount of energy into a better cause. That same amount of energy that people exert into the drama, stoking the fire, stirring the pot. If you would exert even half of that energy into creating, supporting, doing good things, the world would be so much of a better place. It really would be. Something to think about. I mean, think about it. I get it. I get it. Some people just live to see the world burn. They're not happy if they don't have something to complain about. And if you take that away, well, quite frankly, they're going to bitch about that then too. Some people you just can't please. And that's fine. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. So, I see that Bark's in, Bob, ORH, the Bortners, Diggin' Buddy, Dennis, Emery, Jason, Barb, Mike Lacquemet, shout out to Metal Detecting, Central Illinois. And for once, I didn't slip up and almost drop the feed into Central Illinois. We got the feed everywhere it was supposed to go. And it's in the IMDA Facebook group as well. I mean, we have dropped the feed in there before in the past when it's tied to Digfest. But they have said, hey, it's free game. Drop the feed anytime you feel like. And hey, tonight kind of seems like a good night for it. So shout out to Metal Detecting Central Illinois, Illinois Metal Detecting Association, Metal Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound, Detect America, and the Beyond Sight and Sound page. I mean, we're streaming to all of those destinations tonight other than Central Illinois, simply because we don't want to, well, I don't think it would clutter up the group or anything. Who knows? Who knows? And obviously Beyond Sight and Sound here on YouTube, and then other folks can pick it up on the other side through the podcast distribution services, whether it's on PodBean or some of the podcast distribution services. So we've got that. Nice, Shannon. Nice. Okay. So we've got that out of the way. And that was a mouthful. And I don't know. We've Whoop ran on for quite a bit trying to get that done. So for other things in the pipeline, obviously, as I mentioned Sunday, we do have another event coming up to promote here very soon. I'll post a flyer up sometime here in the next 2 weeks, we'll say. I mean, the news is already out there. I do believe Detect America will be covering it as well because they are doing the circuit, and we'll be discussing it right here September 18th, I want to say. Until then, you'll just have to wait for the flyer, I guess. Because they're going to be doing the circuit, I'm sure. They're going to hit all the podcasts, just like when Nokta's got a new machine out or something like that. You folks are no stranger to it. At all. At all. I'm not sure. I'm going to say Chuck is obviously tied up tonight, but and there was a story that I was going to have him share. We've shared it on the show before, and that's one that I'll let him touch on again at another point in time. But that kind of ties into tonight, bringing people's attention to things once again. It seems like usually once a year or so we wind up having to beat the drum. The other day there was an article posted, and I know I put it on the Metal Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound group today. I don't know if anybody else had posted it in the group prior to that or not. But there has been a news article going around that apparently we've got some Nighthawking going on again. Unfortunately. And with getting a late start on the show, I did not get the chance to pull the article back up to take the information directly from the article, so I'm just going to have to relate everything as best I can for those who haven't heard about it yet. And if you haven't, you can find the news article. I mean, there was a post going around that was shared from the Sheriff's Department Facebook page. But up on the Beyond Sight and Sound page, or the Metal Detecting Beyond Sight and Sound group, I believe it's even on my timeline, is the actual news article. Fort Dobbs in North Carolina, which is a historical site, and I don't know, maybe somebody can grab the link for the article off of the Beyond Sight and Sound page and drop it in the chat or something like that. But Fort Dobbs is a historical site in North Carolina. And a little bit of history on the fort. The fort was built in the 1750s as a frontier fort. And it did play a part in the French and Indian War. Either way, I believe, I want to say it was like July 30th, maybe, that Fort Dobbs contacted the Sheriff's Department to have them come out because they had found open holes. They checked the surveillance cameras. They see everything on camera. Sheriff's Department takes the information that they've got to work with, and they track the gentleman down, and I use that term very loosely. People, you all know what we think about Nighthawking, so we'll put it that way. But they track him down, and this was a 30-year-old detectorist, if that's what you want to call him. And he wound up, he was arrested, and he's sitting in jail on, I believe, a $5,000 bond right now, currently. Because news of this broke. Actually, it would have been Thursday, I think. So I may have mentioned earlier that Merrill was on the show Sunday. That's inaccurate. He was on the show Wednesday. Either way, that's a moot point. The person had been arrested, and he's sitting in jail right now. He's facing, I believe it was 3 felony charges and 5 misdemeanor charges of trespassing and theft of historical artifacts. And that's probably on the light side, because different stories I've heard, this had been going on for a while. Now, who knows what all he got? I don't know. We're not the court. We're not the judge. We're not the jury. Who knows how it's going to turn out? All we can do is speculate. But I gotta say, there were some discouraging comments I mean, there were people, I saw people making comments, hold on, let me see here. Okay. Ohio Relic Hunter says maybe he'll pull the Tommy Thompson. Yeah. Which, that can be a whole other show in its own. For you folks that don't know who Tommy Thompson is, because I mean we've got some people in here that, you know, maybe they haven't been in the hobby long enough, or the news didn't filter down to them or something. They didn't follow it. It didn't pop up on their radar. But for those who don't know who Tommy Thompson is, he is one smart cookie. Don't let him fool you. Do not let him fool you. He is definitely smart. But that's been a long-running situation that, boy, we've had court systems involved with it. We've had jails and prisons involved with it. We've had U.S. Marshals involved with it, state police, FBI, yada, yada, yada. And that was, it's an interesting case. I'll put it that way. Now, I'm not saying, don't misunderstand. I'm not saying that nowhere in that did I phrase that Tommy Thompson is innocent. I mean, let's face it. Be careful. Look before you throw rocks. Because, I mean, believe me, I'm sure we're not all saints. So I'm not saying that Tommy Thompson is innocent. It is an interesting case, though. But for those who don't know who Tommy Thompson is, Google is your friend. You can find multiple articles on who Tommy Thompson is, what his achievements were, what the situation was, and what it evolved into and continues to be. I'll put it that way. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. So, anyway, I digress. Back to Fort Dobbs. That's the topic at hand. And if anybody's got something that they want to add to the topic of Fort Dobbs, you can throw it up in the chat like Ohio Relic Hunter did with Tommy Thompson. I'll see that big neon sign that distracts me like a red rubber ball. Look, squirrel! And I'll be able to spot that, and you know, we'll touch on it if need be. But suffice to say, this guy, he trespassed, and he was nighthawking, quite literally. I mean, he was going in under the cover of darkness, headlamp, detector, The whole nine. And there again, I'm not saying that people, detectorists that hunt at night with a headlamp, I'm not saying that they are nighthawkers at all. But I'm telling you, this guy was in the wrong. It's a bad situation the whole way around. How's it going, Chuck?
Oh, real good. Had a lot of stuff going on. And I'm running late.
That's all right. So was I.
Well, I saw the link and I went, well, that was, yeah. Yeah, oh well. Hey, everybody. Michael, Dennis, Janet. Yeah, we got a crew in there, don't we?
Yes,
Hey,
we do.
Mark. Yeah, we had be down early this morning working on a truck, one of the fire trucks, and then some other duties. And by the time I got caught up, I had to run over to Clinton and got back from Clinton. I looked at the time and went, oh, it got away.
Right. Snap.
Yep. Well, so
yeah, it happens.
What's up with the guy Nighthawk thing? I just caught the tail end of that.
Well, a few days ago, it hit the news that sheriff's department down in North Carolina arrested, and I'll use this term loosely again, a gentleman that was a detectorist who had been nighthawking on the Fort Dobbs site, which is a historical site. And he's currently sitting in jail, $5,000 bond, and they're holding him on 3 felony charges and 5 misdemeanor charges of trespassing and theft of historical artifacts.
Now, is that a federal park or is that a state? Do you know?
I don't believe that's a park at all. It is just the Fort Dobbs historical site.
Okay. Is it a U.S. style historical, owned by the feds, or is this a state historical site? Or if it is a federal, you're facing charges. Oh my God.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was getting at is, they've got him on video. This guy is by no means innocent. And they should throw the book at him, rightfully so.
Probably will.
Guys like this that give us all a black eye in the eye.
Big black eye. That's bad stuff. A lot more hellos out there. Bob and Mike and Emery and Kevin, Clayton. So.
And some people had shared a Facebook post around about it. I've got one of the actual articles up about it on Beyond Sight and Sound, my timeline, the metal detecting Beyond Sight and Sound group, about this 30-year-old that was doing this. So, I mean, he knew full well what he was doing. When he's going in under the cover of darkness with a headlamp, he knew what he put himself into.
Bad juju for us.
And I mean, it was kind of discouraging to see, because we see people taking both sides of the
excuse me.
Some people are, hey, they should throw the book at him. Dude screwed up. Other people are going, well, there goes this hobby. What good is it if that sort of stuff is happening and I'm going to get arrested?
On. I mean, you've heard me talk about Chickamauga and that battlefield and the display case when you walk into the Arms Museum.
Exactly.
That guy did 7 years in Leavenworth.
Right. And I had mentioned earlier in the show that, you had the story about Chickamauga, and I don't think a lot of people take this into consideration. And you have to remember this. It may be tempting to try and get onto these sites, but you have to remember one thing. A lot of times, these sites are under federal protection, which means
RH just posted that.
If you get on there, it is considered a federal offense, and now you're looking at time in Leavenworth.
Yep. Dennis put up, it is on the Register of Historic Places. They put up, it is owned by the feds, and that is a federal. He ain't going to see light of day for a while.
That makes it a federal crime now. So this guy's looking at time in Leavenworth.
Yep. And if he was selling any of that stuff,
oh, we're in real hot water now.
It goes up another notch.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, seeing some people leaving comments that, oh, well, I might as well get rid of my detector. What's the point of doing the hobby then?
Yeah.
And other people, I mean, the sheriff's department, they're getting beat up on this. People are telling the sheriff's department, you should let him go. If the Historical Society gave a damn about it, they would have already dug those artifacts up. No, that's not a frame of mind to take.
That's boy. You know, we can do thousands of returns to people across the country. We can help things get found and just give time to the archaeologists. But when you get one of these that goes on, we all get the black eye. We all get the black eye. Right.
And this isn't, one of these 2 steps forward, 1 step back situations. Right. We knocked, as a hobby, as a community, we get knocked back quite a ways.
Yep. We sure do.
All because somebody wants.
Sure do, you guys. That's sad. I hate to see that. And man, I'll have to look it up. They got some links in there. If somebody can send me a link, do it. And I'll read about it. I've been pretty busy this past week while we had the World Series up here at the drag strip, and we stand by and really we didn't have many calls up there, and we had crews up there. Well, we had people coming to us overheated, different stuff like that. We only had one last night that was serious, and so it's been pretty quiet. That's good. Just trying to keep up.
Yeah, that is definitely a good thing.
Yeah. So yeah, they bit the rail once in a while, or the walls, or the one jet went by, and we stand by on the quarter mile, and he popped that chute, and I don't know enough about the jet engine to understand. He popped the chute, and it blew flames out onto the chute, and the chute disintegrated.
Uh-oh.
And it was kind of neat because it caught fire and it went out. And we're thinking, but he got her. He got her turn off.
He didn't slow him down, really.
No, it was interesting, but he got slowed down. He ran a 370, 375. He was cooking, man. But
yeah,
other than that, yeah. But this stuff doesn't only just go on here. England's got problems with it. Italy is really intense on what they do over there. They've got problems with it. The motivation to go in and find stuff in sites that are sacred ground unlooked at.
Extremely tempting to some people.
Well, and you know, the Civil War sites, anything that says CS on it, the value tag is sky high. And
Yeah.
man,
Yeah, it's not good. I mean, we know it runs rampant in the UK and everything, and it's unfortunate anywhere in the world. But when it happens here stateside, it just sets me off.
well, it does a lot of us, and you know, the other problems that we talk about, the holes left behind, not picking up garbage, things like that, that's bad enough. Well, thanks, RH. Appreciate it. He sent a link. Michael, he did kill the jet, but the jet engine flamed out at the end, had built up fuel, and it was timed about the same time as it went. So it was different.
Wow. Yes, thanks to Ohio Relic Hunter for sending the link.
Thank you, sir.
Very cool.
Yeah, Corey, it is a very big problem. Nighthawking.
It is.
It is.
And, I mean, it's not like this is the first instance that we've heard of this stateside. I mean, there have been people that have came before this guy, and they didn't learn their lesson either, or they learned it the hard way.
Yep. So,
and every time this happens, I think they start to come down on these people even harder because they're trying to set a precedence. And unfortunately, every time it happens, it makes it harder for those of us that are doing things the proper way.
Proper way. Yep. And people read this, they see it in the news, they see this stuff, and they will literally approach other people and complain to them about it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because they see it in the news. Next thing you know, we're all looting and pillaging.
Oh, you got it. We're all bad. We're all bad. So, yes, Corey, in the U.S., almost every major battlefield from the Civil War in the U.S. has been nighthawked, and the people have been caught at one time or another.
Yeah. And we're not talking that these people get caught and get a slap on the wrist.
Not good.
Yeah, it usually amounts to not anything good for the people that were involved.
That's sad. So they got him. I'm sure it cost him his equipment, at least so far. And if he had a vehicle there, might have cost him the vehicle.
Cost him the vehicle as well, plus jail time, potentially prison time, a large fine.
And not only cameras, how many, they're sneaking in at night. They've got the equipment to watch you at night without a problem today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's easily attainable in the consumer market anymore, where any average citizen has that capability.
Right. I've got guys with some high dollar equipment just go out and pop coyotes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, to tell you, it's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, now they'll pay a price for that equipment. Yeah. Like you said, it's high dollar equipment. We're talking, $800 to $1,200 scopes, but it's just like seeing them in the daylight.
Yep. Corey, you cannot have a metal detector in your vehicle going through all of the Civil War battlegrounds now and they can actually stop you if they see it and take it.
Yeah. And you can't even use the excuse of, well, I don't have any batteries in it. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
You know, there's the old adage, ignorance is no excuse to the law.
If you have a question in a park, city, state, federal, go talk to the rangers. We have state parks they allow us to hunt in Illinois. But you ask them, they'll tell you where you can. There may be a couple sites within the park you cannot. So, you know, and I've got one just down the road that we actually had seeded hunts in almost 30 consecutive years down there at Illinois. And yeah, you just talk to them, they'll let you hunt it, but you can't hunt in their newly seeded natural preserve ground. You can hunt around it, but you can't hunt in there. They put out the wildflowers and that, so it cuts down on the mowing.
Right. And that's another reason why it pays to know your local laws and regulations, because when things like this goes on, that spells more legislation and restrictions on us, and that's more ground that we potentially lose access to.
Yeah, and Corey said he's never seen anything like that. Even if it is not directly posted.
No matter.
Chicago, the Forest Preserve is huge. It winds all the way through Chicago area. And for a long time they detected it, but it just took a few yo-yos leaving big holes and messes. A couple people got mad, and they were up in the echelon of the politics and shut the entire Chicago Forest Preserve down.
Next thing you know, it is off limits. And there were many people made many nice finds.
Yes.
But no more.
Many of the parks in Chicago are still open, but there are those that they've, in certain suburbs, they just shut it down.
Right.
So Franklin Grove, and geez, there's a bunch of them up there. No detecting.
Mm-hmm. And it's a situation that we see recurring more and more frequently anymore, and at an alarming rate as well.
Yep. And it's not doing us any favors in the long run at all.
No, not at all. We can go through, we could take everybody in the chat, and everybody does everything right. One person does something like this incident at Fort Dobbs, and it just wiped out everything that we've all done cumulatively.
Yep. Yeah, Barb said she drove through Gettysburg with a detector in the car. If you had them covered up heading out of sight, you were probably okay. I wouldn't even wear a T-shirt that said Fisher, Mine Lab, Deus, anything in there.
Right. Yeah, you're asking for unnecessary attention.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yep.
Especially if you've got detectors in the vehicle. You don't want that attention.
Yeah. Kevin's talking about up in his area and beyond, some of the areas that had the same problem occur. Some of it was change of administration. Yeah, you get a couple politicians PO'd at us, and they'll go in and say, this is bad, we can't have it. Florida, a lot of the parks, interior Florida is the bigger cities, Orlando area, they're shut down. It's not because of people leaving holes or messes. They have the subterranean sprinkler heads, and they had a bunch of them cut by guys with shovels thinking it was a good target, and they take off, and they said the average cost to replace them after they've been damaged like that's about $350, $400.
Yeah. And that's on the cheap side.
Yep. So,
and there have been situations like that too, where people have been into a park and they get the irrigation system. Next thing you know, that park's off limits. It only takes one person to ruin it for the crowd.
Yep. So we got to be the cheerleaders. We got to get out there and make it look good. And every time you do it, something like this pops up.
Right.
And so many brand new people doing it. Their intent is good, but sometimes it falls apart.
Yep. Absolutely. Not good.
Shannon says, why do they say in some parts you can detect, but you can't dig anything? Because of lost rings, things like that. People are looking for them, Shannon, and you can pick up loose change, that kind of stuff, but they don't want you digging a hole in the ground and leaving a hole.
Right. And usually that's because someone that's came before us ruined it for the rest of us. But by having the ordinance worded the way that it is,
yeah,
like you said, that still allows us to go in to recover a lost ring for someone or something like that. But even in those situations, sometimes it's better to call ahead, double check.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you're in the right.
Yep. And get the name of the person that you're talking to. That's important.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you call in and you get there and they'll come out. Well, I don't know who I talked to, but I called here. No, get the name of the person that you talk with. If they tell you, yes, you can, you have been told yes, that person can be contacted and they can question if they have a problem with it.
And it might even be good to get it in writing.
Right. And Marks is talking about cemetery digging. I have dug in cemeteries, but it was for the cemetery board looking for their pins. And the only cemetery I ever really was in, and we had permission to go in, and that was out in far eastern Pennsylvania. And the owners of the cemetery said, go ahead, we kind of like to see what you get. Well, they had all kinds of, this place was old, it was full, and it was closed. And we all kind of felt a little funny about it. So just did the roadways.
Right. Yeah, it is kind of a bit of a taboo.
Yeah, it's just an unwritten thing. And I've had guys go in, though, and they asked me over at the Coe Township Cemetery on the lower part, they know there's a bunch of unmarked grave sites. And they asked me to say, you think you could get it with a detector? And I said, I don't know. I mean, you know, it depends upon if the coffin had metal on it. And they said, well, we want to use this section, but we know there's graves in here. And don't want to dig somebody up to put somebody else in, is what they told me. And I'm like, yeah, I can understand that. So
I'm sure somebody appreciates that gesture.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not a cemetery hunter. Give them their due.
Yeah, I mean, you're asking, you're really opening up a can of worms if you start to try to do that sort of thing, and you're just asking for a lot of grief.
Yep. So, Michael brings up the military tradition, coins on a headstone put by, the
Right.
nickel, the dime, they all mean something independently, that you served together, you trained together, you fought together. Each one means something. And I've seen that, the coins on them.
Yeah. And if people, for those that aren't familiar with that tradition, if you Google it, you will find a very interesting read.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So
I've read that a number of times myself. It's good to know. It's a good read, and it's nice to see that people do still carry that tradition
it still goes on.
and pay their respects.
Yep. Barb says up in her area, it's so dry there now, the grass is browned out and you can't dig.
Oh, yeah. I don't have to worry about mowing. It's all dead.
Yep.
It's all brown and no rain in sight.
Yep.
Hot? Oh, man, is it hot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, same here, Scott. Same
We had
here,
that
buddy.
nice, almost kind of early fall-like weather, and then right back in.
70s and high 50s at night. You could crack the windows open. It was nice.
Oh, yeah. Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something for folks to keep in mind. Nighthawking is no good at all.
No good. And if you hear of it being done, tell them to cut it out. They're
Right.
in places. That's not good.
Axe it. I mean, there's plenty of other areas that we can hunt.
That's right.
And I don't know. Some of those sites like that, I get it. Some people go with the train of thought that, well, if they had wanted it, they would have dug it up. Montpelier is a great example, though.
Mm.
It's left there for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, Shannon, I've done the same thing. I've been on the perimeter of cemeteries. There's one out here in the country. There was a school building on one side, a church on the other, and the little cemetery between the two of them. So I've hunted the church and school site, but I don't go in the cemetery.
Right.
It's just kind of like, leave it be.
Yeah, exactly. Plenty of other places we can detect.
That's right.
Don't go asking for trouble. It's all about the image that is portrayed to the common public that may not understand what you're up to begin with, and there again, it gives us all a black eye.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
once they see it, word starts to spread, and then we're all grave robbers.
Yep. I had that deal that we work with through Mine Lab down in Missouri down there. And because the town park had been a battlefield, that particular town had been fought through and over 5 different battles around that town. Most of it was Kansas Jayhawkers fighting with the Union, but the Union took it back. But the city park had been part of the battlefield. You could go in and dig in there, and stuff still came up. Well, a lady found a femur with a 58.
Oh, that's the end of that.
58 caliber 3 ring in there, and she contacted the proper persons. But the head of archaeology in the state of Missouri complained about it. It was in Arkansas that we were all grave robbers. Went after the town, and we're going to something legal sue them or whatever. They shut the town down, but the mayor stood up and got a hold of people. Eventually me, and we brought a whole crew down there and had a whole detecting day down there. They let us in yards, they let us in the park, they let us everywhere. We turned in stuff, any historical importance of the Civil War went to the museum, and he basically thumbed his nose at a guy that never been in their town, telling them that, oh my God, that was a grave robbery. No, they probably had a makeshift aid station there, and the way they took care of stuff was amputated.
Right.
And they turned it over to the Sons of the Confederacy. And after that, I'm not sure if they interred it somewhere or what, but that's been 15 years ago now, 12 years ago.
And it's unfortunate to see these things have to happen.
Mm-hmm.
It really is.
We have to stand up against it once in a while. Now, it's just like all the detectorists, all archaeologists. There are a few on each side that have caused problems. We just can't get it 100%.
Right. Yeah, and there again, it's unfortunate. I mean, maybe the archaeologists have had bad experiences with some detectorists, but there again, doesn't mean we're all like that. But that's what they start to think.
Right. Yep.
And it takes a lot of hard work to build a good reputation.
Yes, it does.
A little bit of nothing to drag it all down.
That's right. They remember you for one big mistake. They don't remember you for a lot of good.
Yep. All that goes out the window as soon as you screw up. I mean, there's not really any other way of putting it.
Nope.
That's the simple fact of the matter.
Right.
When we're out there, you got to remember that if you don't take anything else away from this, our actions don't just affect us.
Right. Well, I wanted to swing by. I was running late, and having that type of thing, I'll have to read that, and I appreciate getting a link to it. All right, so I'll give it a read.
Yeah, it's not a very long read. I'm not sure which link he sent, but none of them are very long.
Okay. Yeah. Just, it's how we spread the word on the show here and all our other stuff that we're trying to do good. We'll help people. We'll find things for them. And, I said, I can't go. I owe my half an hour yet. So I don't have any dessert tonight, Kevin. No dessert. I'm running behind. Supper was 2 pieces of pizza. It's on the run.
Well, sometimes you got to get it where you can.
Oh, Jason, I haven't heard anything about the new detector. I hear rumblings, but I hear nothing about it from Des. I don't know. Maybe Josh has. I have not.
I have heard nothing other than rumor, speculation, and conjecture.
Yep. And Jason said there's a little YouTube segment that hints to it. Doesn't surprise me. You know,
Right?
Keeps going.
The manufacturers have gotten much wiser in the technology that we have available to us now, and they're very good at generating that hype before it's released.
Oh yeah, and hey, Garrett's still doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
bits and pieces from Garrett.
And I'm on board with it. Generate the hype. It's good to see, and that just creates competition and conceptual creativity to make the other manufacturers strive to do more so that we win in the field.
Right.
That's what we've got to remember.
Oh, Clay helped Emery with his MANTICORE, huh? Cool. He said he's ready to roll. Yeah. I want reports, Emery.
Yeah. Speaking of which, we have been in communication with Emery to be on the show.
Good.
At some point in the future. I don't know yet if we're going to try to do it from his location or from the Barclays location.
Whatever works the best, Emery.
Right. And I know, I mean, obviously we know everything works from the Barclays location.
Yeah. We saw that.
Kevin and Clay did a very good job when they were on the show.
Yes, they did. What date you planning on?
I don't know yet.
Okay.
I want to say I believe he said Sundays work better for him.
Yeah.
But I don't know how that's going to play out or anything. I mean, obviously, if Sundays work better for him, then it makes most sense that we'll try to do it on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Sunday that you're not abroad.
Oh, yeah, I'll be gone. And that's one of the things when I had to run to Clinton, I also swung over. I'm shopping suitcases, and I checked over there at a place, and I think I pretty much got it picked up because my old one is finally, I'll give it a decent burial somewhere.
Right. It's made its last adventure.
Yeah. I mean, you got the corners, the wire has worked its way through, and Alaska Air's never been kind to stuff.
Yeah, that's almost an understatement.
Yeah, RH says get it cheap at Goodwill. Well, I've looked at a couple Goodwills and I haven't found one. I'm looking for something that the detector shafts will fit in corner to corner, which I found a couple, but they've been too narrow, and so I'm still shopping. I'm looking. Yeah.
Well,
thanks. Yeah, it all Dennis.
Tick tock, time's running short for great fit.
I know it. I've got one in mind. If I don't find one at the Goodwill, I've done that too. That may be tomorrow. I've got one picked out. I know what I want. And they got plenty of them in stock over there, so I'll just go pick one up.
Right. Yeah. And speaking of which, when are you leaving for England?
11th.
Okay. September 11th.
Yep.
And you're going to be over there for how long?
14 days. 13 days, excuse me. I'll be gone 13 days.
Ah.
Yeah, I've got hunting 10 days, and we're going in a day early, Tim and I are. And we'll probably pick up some stuff. Because Tim takes care of the one barn. We'll probably have to, he's picking up the van. He has to get groceries, that kind of stuff. So I'll go run around with him and do that.
Right. Gotta feed a small army.
Yep. There's 7 of us in one and 12 in another. There'd be 19 of us over
there. Well, while you're gone, and this is not by any of my doing necessarily, that's the date they wanted, but we will have a guest the 18th.
Cool.
And it's been a while since they've been on the show, but they specifically reached out, wanted to know if they could get on the show to discuss an event, and they'll be on the 18th. And as we get closer to that date, I'll go ahead and announce that guest.
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Keep them busy.
For those, I don't know if I had mentioned that or not. I don't even think I had the chance to mention it to you Wednesday, but the 12th, September 12th, no, September 11th. Yeah, because you're leaving on a Wednesday.
Yep.
Yeah. That night, I may pre-record something to air, but if I don't, that night we will not be on the air because it's going to be a very early morning, very long day for me, the 12th. It's that time once again. It's time to go do the whole treatment song and dance.
Ooh, okay.
So probably for the best that I just relax and hydrate that day.
Cool.
Helps go smoother, quicker.
Or so there is some sort of link here to my luggage. I don't know what he's talking about, but I don't know.
You never know. He could be trying to talk you into getting a Pelican or an Apache case.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It'd be better for those trips to Alaska, maybe.
Maybe. Usually when I got my Pelican cases, there's something other than a metal detector in them. I'm heading out hunting.
Yeah, that's true too. But you've made it this many trips to Alaska without needing one.
That's right.
I'm sure you'll be okay.
Yeah. Michael, have a good night, buddy. So
yes.
He's closing at Disney, he says. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. I'm out of here. I'm going up and get something just a little more than I had. I had 2 pieces of pizza at about 5 o'clock.
Yep. Well, you probably ought to go find yourself a little snack or something.
Yeah. Well, it's just me here. Jill's out of town. So going up and cooking a big meal is not coming. It's just going to find something heated up and eat.
Right. Yeah. Chuck's looking for leftovers or a sandwich or
something. I know something's up there.
That's right. There you go.
Right.
Well, we'll let you at it to hunt.
All right. Everybody have a great week. we'll talk to you. We'll talk to you there on upcoming Sunday. That's about it. I got to read up on this article.
There you go.
There you go. Thanks, Josh.
Yep, we'll see you. All right. So, yeah, I mean, and we've had to beat the drum before, and especially when things like this are going on, we have to beat the drum again. And like I said, even if you don't take anything else away from tonight's show, remember, when we're out there in public, we are in the public eye. And our actions don't just affect us individually. It affects our community and our hobby as a whole. So when we're out there in the public light, we're all ambassadors. And it takes a lot of hard work. It truly takes a community to counteract and contradict the actions of one person, like this Fort Dobbs incident. It's discouraging, but it happens. Remember that, folks. You know, we all can make a difference out there. Until the next one, I think we're out of here too. Thanks to everyone for dropping in. Have a wonderful evening, folks. We're gone.
We sure are glad you found us here tonight. Thanks for dropping by and joining in. If you like metal detecting, treasure hunting, gold prospecting, or even entertaining discussion, check us out Wednesdays and Sundays, 8 p.m. Eastern, on your favorite podcast distribution services.